In this video, we'll work on creating new appointments and adding caregivers to those appointments. So to start off, let's go to the Schedule page by clicking the Schedule button on the left menu bar. Once we're here, we see Clients and Caregivers as the two tabs at the top. We're going to be working under the Clients portion. So we're selecting the Clients at the top. So we see all of our active clients listed on the left-hand side of the grid here. Here we see our schedule. We're looking to add a new appointment for Elaine Bennis. So we can either press the plus button, and this shows us all the different days of the week when we could have our appointment start on, or you can see how each day highlights when you bring the mouse over it. That also creates an appointment starting on that day. So we'll just press a day of the week, Monday for Elaine Bennis. Okay, so now we're under Schedule, Elaine Bennis, New Appointment. So for the appointment category, we can either do an hourly appointment or a live-in appointment. Live-in appointments are for 24 hours. Regardless of what you set the start time to, it'll change the end time to make it where it's always 24 hours. We'll do an hourly appointment for the example. So we'll start at noon and go until 5 p.m. How about that? Is repeating. This is if we want it to just be a one-off appointment, we would have is repeating no. But if we want this to repeat in the future, we'll do is repeating. So how about repeating? We'll do Monday and Tuesday. You can pick any days of the week that you need. Repeat type, weekly. You could also do every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, but we just want weekly. And then you can either add an end date for this repeating schedule, or you can have it go on indefinitely. We'll add an end date. How about June 30th? Caregiver category. This is where you set a category for the caregiver for the appointment. You set up these categories in the admin section, and you put rates with them so that if you're on billing based on appointment caregiver category type, it knows exactly what rate to charge once you fill this in. This can be really easy for when you're for setting up appointments and having the rates flow through automatically. Funding source, they're a private pay funding source, so we'll just have that. You can do custom rates instead of the ones that fill in off of the caregiver category. It's easier in most cases just to use the automatic rates, but if for some reason, usually more for one-off appointments, if you need a custom rate, this is how you can do a custom rate. And this breaks out the caregiver rate and the office rate separately, and then the total rate. For registries versus agencies, this can matter a little bit, but it just lets you know what the caregiver is going to make off the appointment and what you as the office is going to make off the appointment. You can fill out any comments, and then you can have different check-in and check-out locations. So when the caregiver checks into the appointment, they use the HZCare Caregiver app, and it's a geofence check-in to show that the caregiver is actually at the place where they're supposed to be for the appointment. Normally, this would be the client's home, but in case there's another reason of whether they're going to pick up a prescription for the client to start with, or if there's a doctor's appointment, or just for any reason the client is somewhere other than their house, we give you the option to select a different location for that. But we're just going to do home. And then for funding source at the bottom, it tells you how many hours then the funding source is now paying for the week for this client. So this is 2 days for the week of 5-hour appointments. So this new appointment is going to add 10 hours, which gives this funding source 20 hours for the week that they're paying for this client. So with all this done, we can save. Save complete. This appointment was successfully saved. Would you like to return to the calendar or add a caregiver? So we can go back to the calendar and see our appointment on the schedule, or we can go straight into adding a caregiver. Let's just go and add a caregiver. So this takes us to the edit appointment page. So this, we can go out. These are the new appointments we made. If we click on one, that's the page it just brought us to. So this is just about Monday, 5/12, the 12 to 5 appointment. If we want to edit the repeating schedule we just made, we can go under Edit Full Repeating Schedule, but we're happy with it. If we want to edit just multiple appointments that are part of the schedule, we can go to Edit Multiple Appointments, and we can select which ones we want to make an edit to. But we're just going to work on this one for now. So we want to schedule a caregiver for it. You can also schedule caregivers under Edit Multiple Appointments if you want to add the same caregiver to multiple appointments. But we're just going to add one to this appointment. So it shows us a list of all the caregivers that are available, and these are based on the filter options that you have selected here. You can filter by first name, last name, and then location, descriptor, skill components, care categories, appointment category, orientation, weekly hours compliant, which means that The caregiver isn't over your weekly hours limit, whether it's 40 hours or what that hour limit is. We are hiding booked caregivers, so we don't accidentally double book anyone. We can't have it where it only shows available caregivers, and that means that the caregiver has explicit availability scheduled on under their caregiver profile for this time, or hide unavailable caregivers. And that means that we would hide any caregivers that explicitly are unavailable for this time. So we just have it set up just to hide the booked caregivers for now, and we see them here. So we can select whoever we want, or we could go to See Schedule. And this gives us even more information on scheduling. So on the top row here, we see the client schedule for Elaine Bennis. We see this light blue color is the target appointment. So this is the appointment we're targeting. We currently have George Martin selected as to fill it. So we see George Martin highlighted in the target appointment on their schedule. So for each day on this schedule, you can see that there are hours listed right here, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., the full day. And this range represents the noon to 5 hours that this appointment is going to last. So light green, select a caregiver. The light blue is the target appointment. The target client other appointments, so you can see these right here and see that Ernest Hemingway is actually working the other appointments for this client during the week on Saturday and Sunday. And then you can see the red, this lighter red, means booked with other clients. The dark red is caregiver unavailability, and this green here is just one-time availability. So besides just the schedules, we can also switch the display mode to information, and this allows us to see more information about the caregivers for the week and contact information if we need that. So you have hours that they're currently working for the week. You have how many times they've visited this client before in the past year. So we can see Ernest Hemingway is the only one that has, but has visited 66 times. So it's a regular caregiver for Elaine Bennis. How far their house is from Elaine Bennis's house, and then what caregiver category these caregivers typically work as, and then contact information. It really seems like Ernest Hemingway would probably be the best fit here, but if you're still not sure, even based on that, you can press Message Caregivers. And any caregiver that has the mobile app that has HZ Caregiver, you can send a message to. So you just turn on whoever you want to send the message to. You can edit the message to anything that you want if you're not happy with what it says here. But are you interested in working the following appointment? It gives a start time and end time and what the pay type is like for the office. You could also explicitly say what they were going to make for the appointment if they don't always make the same thing, or please let me know by 2:00 if you can do it. Anything like that. But I think we're happy just with adding Ernest Hemingway, since we know that he works as a caregiver for her. So we press done, we press save, and now we can see on our schedule, Ernest Hemingway scheduled to work 12 to 5 on Monday. Best of luck with all of your scheduling. Please see our other videos on scheduling to learn more, and I hope this helps. Have a great day.